20,000 graduates to benefit annually from new graduate skill enhancement program called Nigerian Jubilee Fellows. Nigerian government opens bids for concession of 12 highways. Central Bank of Nigeria records massive shortage of forex inflows in 2020 due to COVID-19. Plus oil prices rose above $70 for a third straight session. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you live from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Leah Katung Babatunde, and we do sincerely apologize for starting a bit late. Now, early this week, 72 firms bidded for 12 federal roads in the first phase of concessions. The projects are to be executed through the Highway Development Management Initiative, HDMI, which is another pillar of the present administration's commitment to sustainable development of Nigeria's economy through robust infrastructural upgrade. HDMI is a brainchild of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing and another PPP, that is public-private partnership approach to improving road infrastructure in Nigeria, like the tax credit scheme and the Sukuk bond. Now, how is this going to affect me and you, and what impact will these projects have on the developmental outlook of the country? Joining me via phone to give answers to these from Kano is Malam Halilu Ntie, an information strategist. You're welcome, and thank you for joining us on Business Express this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Now, what are the exact needs this initiative seeks to meet?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me say that this is a project. It is a program of Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, and it seeks to bring development to our country, open up the economy, and reduce burden on government, and faster development to the society. It seeks to achieve so many things within so many time, and in so many parts, in almost all parts of the country. So the idea of HD Highway Development Management Initiative, which is driven by the Minister Babatunde Raji Fashola, the respected lawyer and renowned development driver, seeks to concession routes to interested private sector players. That's why it's a PPP.
Okay, will you be able to let me just pause you a bit. Will you be able to walk us through and tell us how the concession and how it works? How is it going to work?
Oh, okay. Yes, it's going to work. That's the point I'm trying to say. It's going to work through the partnership with the private sector. The rules will be considered to them for a period of time. They will develop, manage for a period of time, then hand them over back to the government.
Okay,
so which is different from privatization. Privatization will mean maybe owning it wholeheartedly or selling it. But this is concession. You will do it, manage it, recoup your money, make profit, and then return it to government.
Okay, now fantastic. How do you see this affecting the economy, let's say in terms of investments, revenue, GDP, and every other thing in the whole gamut?
When it it will certainly improve the economy. One, there will be so many economic activities because you are talking of constructions, and now 12 roads, major roads, have been selected: Benin, Asaba, Abuja, Lokoja, Kano, Katsina. So none of them, or only 2 of them, are less than 100 kilometers, and these are roads that that connect major towns and so on. So you could see how many people will be employed or benefit through that process. You could see how the markets, because most of the equipment, if not all, are going to be bought from the market. So the markets will be gingered towards making monetary activities. You could see that there are also not only the road, but there are other side, infrastructure that will also spring up: the filling stations, the restaurants, the spare parts selling points, and so on. So there are so many economic activities and employment generating activities that will be set up. So it's going to touch about economy, but fundamentally, it also help government to save its own money and deploy it to other areas while development is still going on. This project will go on, but the money that government would have put to construct this road will be diverted to other equally demanding areas.
Okay, now looking at the value chain, what is the size of jobs we'll be expecting from this whole initiative? And of course, in terms of unemployment and skills development, how will these be beneficial to the whole country?
Well, it will, because of the fact that you have saved, the government has saved billions, because this is the first phase, and the projection is that about a trillion naira will be invested. So if the government is going to save, or will have 1 trillion naira to deploy to other areas, that is a great thing for the country. Meanwhile, work continues. Secondly, skills will also be developed, because in areas where there are needs, those that have been given will have to improve the skills of those that are going to be deployed to work there. And the areas, the towns and villages that are going to be close to the construction sites, I'm sure will also benefit. So it will create, a network of youth that will get employment across the country, not only in the north or in the south, but all over, because the roles were carefully selected to represent all zones, all states, and all parts of the country.
Okay, so I also want to find out from you this very concessioning process. How will the concessioners be able to recoup their money? What is the plan for them?
Well, the plan is if they renovate, or if they build, if they are giving, if the roads are concession to them, they are going to, like I said earlier, they are going to work on they are going to manage it for a certain period of time. This agreement will be between the government, between the Ministry of Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, and the private sector players. So from the time they were given, or from the time they finish their construction, they are going to manage them. They are going to collect whatever revenue is supposed to be collected for a certain period of time, to make sure that they have return on their investment. Then they also make profit, and then after that they will return it to government. Meanwhile, government will continue, will decide what to do, but then whatever it is, government will also be getting parts of all the revenue that accrues to it.
Okay, so before I let you go, would you be willing to share with us the funding plan, considering the fact that streams are still very, very low, and of course we are having to also grapple with the issue of private sector participation in projects of this size when we look at how the global economy has fared in the last 1 year?
Yeah, I think since you have brought in the private sector, I think they have their way of raising funds, because this is not really where you get the money, but we are also going to get your money back. So the nice part of it, the government is not spending its own money. So it's not a situation whereby you come and be complaining that the budgets, about releases, about cash backing and so on, because the private sector will come with an assurance to government that they will be able to raise this money, perhaps through the banks, perhaps through the stock exchanges and so on, to be able to, maybe they are going to have a consortium. So it's for them now to decide how best to raise the money and do it, but government will now save its own. So the question of now these roles being put in annual budgets will not be possible.
Okay, I must sincerely thank you, Mr. Halilu Antie, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do have a nice one.
Thank you.
Now, the federal government, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme UNDP and other private sector partners, will launch a 20,000 yearly graduate job fellowship to be called the Nigeria Jubilee Fellows Program, NJFP. This is in addition to employment opportunities created through the Economic Sustainability Plan and job schemes being implemented under the Social Investment Program that seeks to close the unemployment gap.
Of recent graduates and the human resource demands of the labor market, connecting graduates with opportunities to earn as they learn and to gain required experience. I urge the private sector leaders who are present here and captains of industry and our development partners and the diplomatic community to support this program aimed at equipping young Nigerians with skills and experience required for the workplace of the 21st century.
Fully paid internship will last for 12 months and specifically targets young Nigerians who have recently concluded the National Youth Service Corps NYSC program. And on the commodity market, oil prices rose for a third day on Thursday on expectations for a surge in fuel demand, particularly in the United States, Europe and China. Brent crude futures were up 0.7% at $71.84 a barrel, the highest since September 2019. The international benchmark had gained 1.6% on Wednesday. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 0.6% to $69.27 a barrel. Prices earlier rose to as much as $69.32, the most since October 2018 after gaining 1.5% in the previous session. The consensus among market forecasters, including the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries OPEC and its allies known as OPEC Plus, is that oil demand will exceed supply in the second half of 2021, which has spurred the recent run in prices. And on that note, let's take a trip to the commodities market. Now, with the economy gaining gradual momentum on the road to recovery, businesses are also picking up, but not without setbacks as business owners decry cost of production as well as high cost of setting up new businesses. Benny Adams takes us through an experience.
So, 1 million naira. 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 Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Emmanuel Samson is a Nigerian entrepreneur doing well in South Africa for the past decade, and 7 years ago decided to come back home to Nigeria and invest in the beverage industry with special interest in packaging clean, safe and purified drinking water using a technology new to Nigeria. But that is yet to happen 7 years on.
When I came back, I discovered that the processes in trying to establish a factory in Nigeria is very tedious with regards to the regulations and the cost of setting up, acquiring the land, going to NAFDAC and all those stuff. It's not that friendly compared to other countries. So it will be very difficult for you to get investors to either key into your project or to be able to bring that money to establish. As an entrepreneur, sometimes you want to set up a business, you need people to come and key into it so that they can be a part of what you are doing and also be able to expand more.
The blow dealt the global economy by coronavirus made it even more difficult for Emmanuel Samson to get his partners in Nigeria to commit the required finances to make his project a reality.
Most businesses are folding up, especially those that are coming back to the country to try to set up. The environment is good for business, but I want to say something for a fact. I want to use NAFDAC as an example. I'm not sure it's the cost of registering the business that will determine the standard of the business. NAFDAC will ask you to come and pay some ridiculous amount of money, maybe 750,000 naira per bottle to register a product.
On accessing credits from the Central Bank of Nigeria, Emmanuel says until now he never knew it was possible at single-digit interest rate, but kept looking up to partnerships.
In the true sense, my perspective initially was that I could do it on my own because I know for a fact, going through any bank, I've not tried the central bank, but I know that going through most of the financial institutions in Nigeria, there are a lot of bottlenecks, a lot of check and balances.
With the rapid rollout of vaccines in the country, leading to gradual recovery of the economy, Emmanuel Samson is hopeful that the dream of establishing a franchise in Nigeria will soon become a reality.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
On the global stock market, investors are still weighing inflation concerns ahead of key U.S. economic data. Bosley Abel has a review of trading activities this Thursday.
Survey released Thursday showed slowing Chinese services activity growth in May. This, however, affected the performance of shares in Asia Pacific, which were mostly higher in Thursday trade as investors reacted to data releases in Australia and China. Mainland Chinese stocks were higher by the afternoon, with Nikkei rising 0.39%, while Hang Seng Index shed 0.89%, and the Shanghai Composite also dipped 0.13%. European stocks are expected to open moderately higher on Thursday, with markets set to follow an upbeat tone set in Asia Pacific overnight. U.S. stock futures were flat early Thursday morning following a quiet day of trading on Wednesday. Futures for the Dow Jones Industrial Average were unchanged. S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 futures both gained marginally, while African stocks are yet to post figures as at the time of this report. Bosley Abel, Business Express.
Now let's take a quick preview of how the market performed yesterday, Wednesday, the midweek trading session. The equities market closed on a bullish note to extend positive sentiments among investors, with the all share index gaining, with investors gaining more than 35 billion naira, and the all share index climbed 0.18% to close at 38,482.52 basis points, and market capitalization also closed at 20.05 trillion naira. 156.9 million shares valued at 1.3 billion naira were traded in 3,273 deals. Japan Gold, FBN Holdings, and Transcorp were the most traded stocks, with a combined volume of more than 42 million shares valued at over 108 million naira. The opening figures on the stock market are yet to coming this morning. And of course, we move straight to the currency market. with that, we end this edition of Business Express. Remember to keep in touch with us by sending in your comments, observations, and suggestions, and also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter. The handle is NTA News Now. The hashtag is BizX. Join us again on Friday at 3 p.m. for another package. I'm Leah Cotton Babatunde saying to have a wonderful day ahead.